So what's in store for today? So we're setting off from our bothy. We're about 1.5 stages away from getting to our destination tonight, which is Tyndrum. We've got a hostel booked there, which will be nice to get down for a night, recharge our batteries, recharge our electricals as well, and yeah, possibly get there a bit early if we can. But the day is going to be probably similar to yesterday. We've got around about 20 miles, might be about 22 in total. We wanted to kick on a little bit further last night, but the opportunity to stop at the bothy where we could, we took that, and we'd rather have a night's sleep and not have to pitch for tents. So yeah, it's around 20 miles, around 1.5 of the official stages. So we'll be getting to the end of stage 4 out of 8, which will be halfway through the West Highland Way by tonight.
Onto that island, so.
There we go, so just about a couple of kilometres, just over a mile past the bothy. This would have been a good place to wild camp. Look how close you are to Loch Lomond. You literally got out into the loch, and probably have to mind out for the midges being down here as well. So Andy Jumanji's got his march on, struggling to keep up. So at the crossing point here for where the Great Trossachs Path meets the West Highland Way. A little bit of a map for you there. So I made it to the Inveroran Hotel. Not sure how that's pronounced, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Lovely view of Loch Lomond here. Just panning out. So we've got the ferry coming in, a view that side, all the way around. Just take you onto this bank where a little bit of sun's poking through, which is very rare for this trip. Well, it's tough going on this bit, the side of the loch. It's constantly up and down and quite rocky, so not really making progress at a rate of knots this morning. We've done 4.5 miles in about 2 hours, including a stop. Oh, well-deserved rest area for after that tricky climb, and a little bit of flat before we then no doubtably go into a bit more climbing. Just in the distance we've got a little bit of a viaduct. Looks like might be a train running over that, and hopefully this path stays a little bit flatter. Bit tight that one. It's opened up a bit now.
Oh.
Nice flat section. How you feeling, Andy?
Nice to hit this bit. That was a tough couple of hours. That was.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very tough going. But hopefully it stays like this sort of terrain for a bit. Gives us a bit of respite. You can just make out between the trees, train going past. So I think that might be the train line that we take back, hopefully on Saturday morning. Looks a bit lost. Bit of wildlife en route. Goat there. Who are you kidding, Andy?
Hey.
Got a bit of a ladder here. Oh.
Not as bad as people make it.
Yeah, I made more of a meal out of it holding this, didn't I? So So we've just come off a lock for a bit. It's a bit nice of respite underfoot for not just constantly going over rocks quite hard on our feet and constant up and downs is slowing our progress a bit. So just going to enjoy this bit. Lovely scenery again, seeing all the hills, little bays of the loch, and yeah, beautiful. Good little spot. Probably camp down here actually, wild camping. And yeah, we'll see what the next section brings. Look at that view, eh?
Tricky today, won't Ben Nevis.
Yeah, been nice and clear today. So just approaching Drymen's Bothy. So Drymen's Bothy was actually the bothy we were aiming for last night originally, but going into looking at my watch, coming up for about 8 miles and nearly 4 hours of walking today. So it's a good job we didn't aim for that last night and we stopped at the bothy that we found, because it had been about 11 o'clock at night before we got there, and I don't think we'd have managed walking through the dark here. So yeah, we'll go and check it out and see what Drymen Bothies look like. So if you're planning on stopping near to Drymen's Bothy, yeah, come and have a look. So here is Drymen's Bothy. Looks pretty similar size to the one we stopped in last night, but more of a substantial roof to it. Is anyone in there, Andy?
No, just like the other one.
No, we'll just pop in and have a look. So
It's got a gas stove. You got your own gas?
yeah, gas stove here. A little bit of a sleeping area.
If the bricks look a lot better, looks a bit more.
And then a couple more sleeping areas, so probably get 2 at a push if you know each other well on there. And another one there and a fire, so similar setup, probably slightly smaller than the one we stopped in, but yeah, Drymen's Bothy. So we're a couple of miles off the end of the traditional day 3, stage 3. So this ground underfoot is looking a little bit better than it was before. Not so many rocks, which is making it a bit easier to walk over. We've got a little bit of a climb towards the end of the stage. It's like quite a sharp climb and then a bit of a downhill towards the end of the stage. So we're hoping in the next hour or so we'll be, well within the hour really, be at the camp. Be able to refuel, and it is the sort of only refuel stop for the past 18 miles. The last one we did was at the last campsite to actually stock up on snacks and food and that. So do factor that in if you are thinking you get to the last point before this campsite on the end of stage 2. Do stock up on supplies, because it's 18 miles until they were right on the sign at the time. There's a good spot just in those trees for wild camping. There's, don't know if it's a wild camp or an actual campsite, but we've seen a few campers are there. Got the solar panels out for electricity. Very advanced setup. I don't think they're backpacking the trail, or if they are, they've got very broad shoulders, broader than ours. Another camp spot. So hotel, shop, camping, showers and laundry. That's just within a couple of miles of the end of stage 3 on the official West Highland Way stages. So if you're taking a bit longer than 4 days, possibly 8 or even longer, this is possibly something you could try out. Bit of a ferry on the loch, that would be beautiful right now. We're finally heading away from, in what seems like forever, heading away from Loch Lomond. So we'll say goodbye to it. Enjoyed the scenery. I'm sure we'll see it again on the train on the way back. And just getting ready for a tasty little climb here. At least we've got some steps this time. It's be a good little settlement over that side of Loch Lomond. Not quite sure what it's called, but a lot busier than this side anyway. A little bit overgrown on this section. Looks like we're walking through Jurassic Park. With the sound effects too, Andy, thank you. And you can see just straight back down the loch, so that goes on for around 20 miles or so in Loch Lomond. So as we're just approaching the last campsite at the end of stage 3, just a little update on places to wild camp on this day's stage if you're doing it. There's not really a lot of spaces. There's a couple of spaces by the lochs, which did look quite nice. And then your best bet, I'd say, is probably either one of those buffies if you can get in. So hopefully you go at a time that's not peak season and not really packed, and just stay in one of those buffies for a night is probably your best bet. Failing that, if you can get there nice and early and you've got a bit of flexibility in the day, camping by the lake, there was a couple of spots, but there's a lot more wild camping spots on the previous day's walk than on today's walk. So remember on the second day, when we had a couple of these signs for camping management where you couldn't camp. Here's another one, so we've got another camping management zone. Not quite sure how long this one goes on for, but there's a section probably on the next couple of stages that's going to be affected by it that, yeah, it's going to be difficult to you can't wild camp there. You're going to have to find a campsite or alternative accommodation. And now we've made it to Ben Glass campsite. So sign just here: bar, shop, toilets, restaurants, washing facilities, camping, rooms as well. So looking forward to stopping here, taking our bags off and getting a bite to eat. So yeah, check in again. So we're just leaving the Stagger Inn. I think that's a really good and appropriate name for a bar restaurant on this route. So we've left Ben Glass and the campsite and the little pub there was there. We stopped and had a few snacks from the shop, and the pub wasn't open for food until 2 o'clock, but we did manage to sneak in a pint each, didn't we, Andy? So a pint of cider, and then had a Caledonia Smooth, I think, or something like that, a lager, so very nice.
Saying it's a small shop, it's really well stocked. All the blister plasters and everything for walking injuries and whatnot. It's, you know what, it's bang on, that was. Not bad prices.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We got about £20 worth of kit in there as well, didn't we? So got some pan au chocolats. I thought they would give me a lot of energy throughout the day. Had about 3 of them while we were sat in there for lunch. But yeah, it's a good little stop, and that sort of brings to a close the 3rd stage out of 8 of the West Highland Way, and we're heading off towards Tyndrum now, which is the end of stage 4, so this will be our rest point for the end of the day. Coming at you with a quick update on the path. So I know we've been chunching away and moaning for the last probably 20 miles or so, I think, about the path. We're alongside Loch Lomond. Look at this, it's an absolute dream to walk on. So this section's slightly uphill, but the path is a lot more like it was on the first day, where we could move a lot quicker. So if it stays like this for a bit, we'll make good progress towards Tyndrum tonight. I think we may be waving goodbye to our nice little path. It's the West Highland Way, look, got a little arrow back there that says it goes in this direction, and this to me looks like a little rocky footpath that we had before. We're probably a mile or so out of Ben Glass campsite, walked up the hill. This is the stunning rapids of River Fallock. We head a bit higher up, probably a mile or 2, and it gets to the falls of Fallock, so looking forward to seeing that one.
We're having.
There we go, Scott Rail. That's
Give us some toots! Toots!
That's us coming back on Saturday. Hopefully not this time, we'll miss the football. We're just above the falls of Fallock here, so we headed slightly above this. Look at that, just flowing down into the lochs. There we go, we can see all of this kilometre, all decent paths. So catch a little bit of ground up on here. We did actually on the last stretch just have what looked like a sort of war bomber plane flying over, just as we were sort of walking along. It caught us off guard really. We looked over our left shoulder and it was probably only, I don't know, might be exaggerating here, 20 metres or so off the ground. It was
I'd say a couple of 100 feet.
Couple of 100 feet off the ground, Andy says.
Very level, flying.
Didn't seem very very high, but yeah, a big bomber just flying over a loch. So I did catch a little bit of a clip on it on my phone, which I'll try and drop in here in this video.
Do 5 kilometres on that first, yeah.
It wouldn't be bad to live here, would it? With that river on your front. It's in the middle of nowhere. Very quiet.
Lower.
Tunnel roof gets lower.
I found it to be a midget.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can stand up all the way. No. It's about 5 foot.
Quite low this, especially when you've got a pack on your back.
Back of a van. You have to go lower.
And I'm out. It's quite a low little tunnel. Look at this. We've got the highway. There's a very happy Andy.
Yeah. That's where you need a GoPro.
I'd be a bit annoyed if you walked up that one today and just saw a few clouds. Give us a wave, Andy.
Hey, we're good.
So we're at a point here where you can head right to Kinlochleven. I don't know if I got that one right. Where there's a toilet and a shop. Or we're heading to Tyndrum on the West Highland Way. So about 4 or 5 miles, probably 6 miles or so. For start of the hill here. So
yep, this is the
Kinlochleven crossroads, halfway point on the West Highland Way. Excellent place to rest, aching legs and restore spirits. So off in this direction when we get going. Bit of a dangerous stretch here, so don't climb on timber stacks and don't approach loading machinery. Update time. So we are about 20 miles in for the day, just coming up to, and about 5 miles to go left in our day. So making really good progress. Feet are getting a little bit weary now. I can feel a couple more blisters coming along. That's been a real challenge of the walk, as it's quite sort of damp conditions underfoot, especially walking along Loch Lomond too. And you just get sweaty feet as well, I guess. It's hard to keep your feet dry and hard to stop that blistering, so definitely bring plenty of blister patches with you. Even if you don't normally get blisters, you'll probably pick one up. I don't tend to get them usually, but yeah, I picked up a couple on this route. But yeah, much happier with the second half of this route since we left the pub. The underfoot conditions have been a lot better. It's been a lot quicker to walk on. We've picked up the pace considerably in this second half, and yeah, we're probably only a couple of hours away from reaching Tyndrum now, which is our halfway point for the route as we're walking up Ben Nevis in the second half. But we've actually crossed the halfway point of the West Highland Way today, so to do that and still have 2 days left to go is really good, really promising, and
on target.
We're well on target. So out of the forest, and we're heading towards a road crossing now. So we've got to the road crossing now. It's quite a busy one. So
Where's the road we come to?
nothing coming right. Oh, there's something coming left. After this one. Yep, all good to go.
Ponies. Jump in hotel. Where are we going?
Tyndrum massage at the hotel we're going to.
To the massage.
We may well take them up on that offer. Got about 3 miles to go before Tyndrum. Lovely bridge, yeah? Nice. Some nice views to take in on this stretch. Just do a nice 360 here. Go. So that's actually the Crianlarich Hills. Probably butchered the pronunciation too. So Benmore, Stubbennen and Cruach are Drain. Looks like them three there.
Yeah. They've got tears between their eyes.
So some more Montrose here, the tallest of which is Ben Louis, which looks like it could have snow on top of it most of the year, but hasn't today. So I think I can point that out. Sorry, that one's Ben Louis. So it's just worth a quick mention on different food stops. So you can fill up and stock up on food at the shop at Strathfillian Wigwams. Although as we went through on a Wednesday today, all the shop was closed. So it's probably something to think about from the last time you leave the pub at Benglass at the camping area there. There's not an opportunity to refuel and restock until you get to the end of the stage there, so it's a good sort of 10-12 miles without that, so do factor that into your routes. There we go, 1.5 miles to go to Tyndrum. So been going probably about 22 miles today, so really welcome at the finish today. It's been a long day. Be glad to get the bags off, put my feet up, a little bit blistering up and a few aches and pains in there now, which is probably expected after that distance. So it's been a good day. Probably got another half an hour, 40 minutes of walking to get to the campsite. Bit of history and a bit of a legend here. So the Lochan of a lost sword. So after he was beaten at Dowrig, Robert the Bruce and his army threw their weapons into this small Lochan. This included Robert Bruce's longsword, his claymore, and the legend suggests that it still lies here to this day, in this very small Lochan over here. I'm not going to go for a swim and try and pull it out. A bit too tired for that. This is a bit of a map where we've been. So we took, when we first crossed the road, or for the second time crossed the road there, followed the West Highland Way along the River Fillen. We've come past the Battle of Dowrig. We've then come past the Loch of the Lost Sword and then headed up on this path all the way to the old lead smelting site, which I believe is this column here, old lead smelting site. So from here you've got, not too far to go back into Tyndrum and Tyndrum station. So the Glasgow Oban Railway, that looks like the railway we'll be taking back on Saturday. So very weary, but we've very nearly made it to the Tyndrum campsite and the end of the stage for today. There's Andy in the background.
Hey, how are we doing?
500
metres to go.
500 metres to go, full of good spirits there. Is it this way?
Left.
Left up here. Don't want to get lost at the last hurdle. So I think we may have a bit of a walk to get to the pub tonight. We're going to get some hot food, as currently quite hungry from today's exertions. I've only really been having snack food today. We were too early for the pub but to serve hot food when we're halfway. So yeah, nearly there, glad to make it. And that up there is the sign for our hostel. What do you think about that, Andy?
Tough going today, won't gonna lie. That's hurt a little bit.
You've broken a little bit off you?
Yeah. Burnt a few matches.
Good morning, welcome to another day in paradise. So we just left the hostel and the campsite at Tyndrum and we're heading off on the 5th stage today. So hopefully we'll do the 5th and the 6th stage and get somewhere near to Kinlochleven tonight. How you feeling, Andy?
Pretty sore. The feet are a bit of a mess, but gotta crack on, keep going. But we're in good spirits. It's actually really warm for Scotland. We're in shorts. We'll be t-shirt in about an hour's time, and it's half six in the morning. So yeah, we're good.
We're good, yeah. My feet are a bit sore as well, so I echo that from Andy. We're sort of patched up and taped up and ready to go for another day. Quick pit stop, hide the jacket. Some lovely scenery around. Pan over, we're heading in this direction. Bit of cloud on top of those peaks. Found a nice spot to boil camp.
Here we are, boys. We've got Francis Bonjour.
So we're about 4 miles into today's route and we're making really good progress. The tracks have been a lot better since leaving Tyndrum, and yeah, we've probably only been going about an hour 40, an hour 45. We're well over 4 miles, so really good start to today, and it's a lot less tiring than all that rocky terrain around Loch Lomond. So next check-in, we're about 6.5 miles in, still on the same sort of terrain as well, so when I pan it round you'll be able to see. Just got Andy in front. He's been doing a new tactic of a bit of run walking, thinks that'll help his blisters, and seems to be doing the trick in the last mile or so. He's perked up a bit. So yeah, hopefully we just carry on. We're about 2.5 miles away from the next stop, which is just past Bridge of Orkney. So just going underneath the station of the Bridge of Orkney train station. How are we, Andy?
Yeah, I'm in pain, mate.
Struggling a bit,
yeah.
Blisters. That's the Bridge of Orkney Hotel. So we're just crossing the road now. We'll be on our way to Inveroran, which says it's 3 miles in that direction. It's been a bit more of a tough climb up from the road of the Bridge of Orkney up towards the Inverarnan Hotel. So here's some of the scenery. It's like a bit of a rocky path, with some lovely views back over the road and back towards the hills in the background. Just about make out one of the locks that we're passing. We've been Loch Tula. Thank you, Andy. Loch Tula. A nice view back down the valley of the Bridge of Orkney town, little village where we've just come from. Just coming into the end of the 5th stage of the West Highland Way. So this is from where we stopped in Tyndrum to just past, gone through the Bridge of Orkney and going towards the Inverarnan Hotel. So a bit of an update on this section of the stage. Around the first 6 miles or so, really easy, good paths. The last 3 or 4 miles, we sort of had to walk uphill a bit over through a forest, disused forestry bit. And then back down on this sort of rocky surface as well. So this has been quite tough, going up and going down really, especially on already blistered feet. So yeah, a bit of an update. I'd be glad to sort of take the pack off when we get to Inveroran Hotel, stock up on supplies, have a bit of food, and on our way on the 6th stage then. And there is the Inveroran Hotel, which don't think we'll be going in the pub just yet, but there is a shop there. Sells ice cream, a few t-shirts, and hopefully we get some snacks.